terms of next steps, what does a client need to do after building the MVP, right? Like he builds an MVP, he launches an app. What is the next step? Is a prototype a next step? And maybe explain what a prototype is. And where does the client go from there, right? Like how does he scale the application? What does he need to do? What would he need in terms of a UI UX project or like a designer? So maybe just explain more on in that phase, like what does the client do next after the MVP stage?
So once they have an MVP, that means they must have done that activity to validate their product or their idea. So if they have gone to investors, if they have gone to the users, or if they have done internal testing or other processes, then they get a fair idea that okay, if the product is valid or not, because that is the main premise of an MVP. Now the next step should be to see what is the next plan or the goal of the company is. Do they want to launch the product immediately? How much time do they have? Or do they want to build some additional features on top of that, or enhance certain parts of, because MVP again is like as you say, minimal viable product. So it is something to validate or get an approval in the market or through different stakeholders. But once you have done that, you have to see that what is the next step again. Like, do you want to build features, when it has to be launched? Based on to that, the next corrective action will be to inhibit those features within the application. Again, like figuring out the correct UX journey and then building that as a part of a UI on the application. And then once that's ready, then you can pass it on to the development. The other thing that you ask is what is prototype? So prototype is something which is more kind of an interactive idea that you see on your phone or on your screen. So it's something like when it comes to UI, then UI is something what you're going to see, but it doesn't helps you see that how the journey will happen. So if I'm seeing a particular screen on my phone or on my laptop screen or XYZ, then I do not know, like pressing this button, what will happen next, or maybe if I press some icon, what will happen next.
Right.
But what prototype ensures is that when you actually press that button, then you go to the next screen, you see what is happening. So it's sort of a haptic feedback mechanism that you do something on the screen or on the device and you get a response out of that. But when it comes to static screen, that response is missing. So it's not like an actual working application when it comes to prototype, but at least a feedback mechanism can be seen while if you have a prototype.
Great, that's really helpful.